Hello everyone and welcome to the monthly technical workshops. We will just give it 3 to 5 more minutes until everyone else joins. So hang in there. All right, well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And this is the fourth technical workshop of 2023. So the monthly technical workshops are a platform to exchange ideas, share knowledge and best practices. And it's delivered by members for members. And for today's technical workshop, we will be titled the CO2 compensation process and sustainable products, and will be delivered by our members MAPEI. Today on this technical workshop, it will be delivered by three great speakers from MAPEI, starting with Michaela, who's the Corporate Environmental Sustainability Team Leader at MAPEI. Hi, Michaela. And then we have Samantha Shepard, as well as Nasreen, who are both of them are specification managers at MAPEI Middle East and Africa. Hello, Nasreen. Hello, Samantha. Hi there. All right, and the stage is all yours. Not yet, sorry. Just quick instructions before I give them the stage. If you have any questions, please use the questions tab to ask us. I'll be monitoring the questions, and hopefully we'll have time at the end to answer all of your questions. And in case you have any technical problems, please do let us know on the chat box. I will also be monitoring that. We strongly advise that you watch this webinar using a laptop, not a mobile device. And now it's time. I give you the stage. Please go ahead. Michaela and Samantha and Nasreen. We can't hear you. I think you're on mute. Just a moment. Yeah, you're all on mute. I will unmute you.
Okay, can you hear us now?
Okay. Yes, we can hear you.
We were not allowed to talk.
Oh, sorry. No, you're allowed.
Okay, first question of the last few years. Can you see the screen? You can see? Okay, very good.
Yeah, yes, we can.
Put the camera off and then we'll start.
Okay. So, just a brief introduction. So, I am one of the specification managers for MAPEI, based in the Middle East, covering projects and clients in the Middle East and Africa region. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Nasreen Salman. I'm a specification manager, Middle East and Africa. I've been in the company for the last 14 years. Feel free to ask any questions. First, we would like to thank the Emirates Building Council to give us this opportunity to introduce our technology. Michaela is part of the team. She's based in Italy. She's the team leader for environmental sustainability. We'll give you a small introduction about the company. First, we will start with a video and some numbers and what's our product range.
So, as a brief introduction, for those of you that don't know MAPEI, we are one of the global leading manufacturers of construction chemicals. We are a family-run company, even today, founded in Milan, Italy in 1937. Initially, we started off as a company manufacturing products specifically for ceramics, things like tile adhesive, grouts, sealers, protective coatings, and over the course of 86 years, I think this year, obviously we've expanded our product range and grown as a company geographically as well. to the company that we are today. So these are just a few figures taken from last year's corporate information. So in 2021, we had 3.3 billion euros of turnover. We now have roughly about 11,000 employees within the business. So these are from our research and development team, they're in manufacturing, they're our sales team, procurement, located across the world. In terms of products, we will look into a brief overview of our product range in a few slides, but we have approximately about 6,000 different formulas, different products that we manufacture. We have a heavy focus on research and development. Obviously, we're a market leader, especially in the construction chemicals sector. We have a responsibility to be one, improving the formulas of our products, but also looking at sustainability, how we can improve the sustainability aspects of our products as well, which obviously we'll focus on with Michaela's presentation. Nowadays, we have 32 different research and development sites across 20 countries globally, with 100 subsidiaries sitting in 57 different countries around the world. From a global perspective, obviously everywhere in the map is somewhere where we have either a MAPEI manufacturing site, we have MAPEI subsidiaries. The Middle East and East Africa headquarters is based in Dubai in the UAE, where we service the Middle East and Africa region. And you can see other subsidiaries located in this region as well, in Egypt, in Kenya, in South Africa, and in Saudi Arabia as well.
Just to give you an overview of our product line, we have more than 24 product lines in our range, something which is related to the waterproofing as in substructure or superstructure, fibers, the additives in the concrete, the mixture to the concrete at the same time. We do have something for stone and ceramic material to serve as a tile adhesives, grouts, and sealants. Other groups where we have like sports flooring, resin flooring in terms of car parks, and industrial and decorative flooring, with some also sealants, as in polysulfide and polyurethane and silicone sealants. Different types of paints, internally and externally, thermal insulations, as we call it, EIFS or ETICS, roofing material that will with a high SRI value. And without any further delay, I'll just give this to Michaela to start the presentation about the sustainability.
Okay, thank you. Can you give me? Okay,
Yep.
Perfect. So can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, okay, perfect. So I can start. Good morning from Italy. I'm Michaela Decio. I've been working in MAPEI since 1999, so very long time. And I was involved, first of all, in the analytical laboratory, and particularly involved in the indoor air quality and in all the green ratings, such as, for example, even LEED, but even Emirates Green Building rating and so on. From 2015, we formalized the group, completely and fully involved in sustainability, in product sustainability. And I will try to explain you what does it mean, sustainable products, for a corporate company that is manufacturing chemical products for buildings. This is my team, so we are 6 people now, all of them are very young. And now I will I will explain you what we do and our initiatives, explaining the CO2 as the title of the presentation. So first to the top, we will release our sustainability report related to 2022, and for the first time it will be global. So since last year we had an European sustainability report, but from now on we will have a report, a global report. So even Dubai, Emirates, and all the subsidiaries will be included in our report. The sustainability report is very important, and I want to show you the materiality analysis of last year. The materiality analysis means that we compare all the items that must be correlated and then must be reported in the sustainability report that are relevant for both MAPEI stakeholders and MAPEI itself. As you can see, I believe in this graph, one of the most important items is the climate change. You can see that it's relevant for both stakeholders and MAPEI. Why it's important? Because we are really living the climate change. Here in Italy, for example, it's not raining since many months. There is the winter was very, very hot. In these days, I have to say that we have 10 Celsius degrees, so it's not so hot. But in any case, we have to manage with the climate change, and we have to try to find out solutions against this phenomenon. So, but why even the building industry must deal with the reduction of the climate change? The climate change is due to the emissions of the greenhouse gases. One of the most important greenhouse gases is the CO2. In this presentation, we will refer to the greenhouse gases as CO2 emissions. As you can see in this graph, building operations cover almost 30% of all the global CO2 emissions. So a huge amount of CO2 is coming from the building operations. That means cooling, freezing, demolitions, etc. But even the building products give an important amount of emissions of CO2. And then you can see even the concrete, steel, and aluminum in the building and the infrastructure. You can see that they have 22.7% of the global CO2 emissions. Why the concrete? The concrete, you know that it's made by cement. Cement has a very, very high amount of emissions of CO2 due to their raw material, due to the energy that it's needed to make and to manufacture the cement. So the building industry is very important to deal with the climate change and to try to reduce the emissions coming from our sector. So that's why we started working on organization and on the products in order to obtain products and on organizations with reduced CO2. First to the top, sustainable products mean durability and quality. Why? Durability is the main topic of sustainability, because if I have a product that long lasts, it means that I can reduce all the waste coming from the construction and demolition. Construction and demolition waste, for example, in Europe, has the highest amount in Europe. So it's very important to reduce this waste. So durability is the topic for sustainability. But we even measure all the environmental impacts coming and associated to our products. And I will show you how we measure these impacts. And our will is to reduce all the impacts on the planet that are coming and are linked to our products. And another initiative that we are taking is the CO2 offsetting, that I will explain you what it is. So first, how can we measure the impacts of our products? With a methodology that is called life cycle assessment. We have a software in Milan, and my team can work on it all days. And we measure all the impacts coming from the raw materials of our products to their transport to the plants, the transformation to the finished product, the application, the maintenance to the grave of the product, that means waste, or recycle, and so in terms of circular economy. All these points are taken in the software, and so we can measure all the impacts. The impacts that we measure are a lot, too many, and we take care about the global warming potential. That means the carbon footprint of the product. That means the emissions of CO2 linked to our products. But we even take care about the water, the depletion of the raw materials, the photochemical ozone depletion, and so on. For sure, the most popular, I have to say, is the carbon footprint, the global warming potential that is expressed as kilos of CO2 per kilo of product. And this CO2, this carbon footprint is the cause, can cause the climate change that we are living. So we must reduce this amount of CO2. We must reduce the CO2 coming from the products and coming from the organization. So for the organization, we are working, first of all, on energy. For example, Dubai plant has a lot of photovoltaic energy and so renewable energy and clean energy. That's very important. And we are working on the waste and circularity of all the organization. On the product, we can act and we can work on the formulations, on the production, and even on the supply chain. For example, all the raw material that we supply come from local supplier, and that's very important because we can reduce the transport and the pollution due to the transportation of the raw materials. For the production, all the plants are very new in MAPEI, and so the production does not affect a lot the CO2 emissions coming from our products. And we must work on formulations. That's why my colleagues described MAPEI with 32 R&D labs all over the world, because it's very important to work in research and development and to obtain, to obtain new formulation with a high quality, high durability, but lower environmental impacts. So, according to our studies by LCA, by life cycle assessment, we discovered that the raw materials give the highest impacts on the formulations. Not the transport of raw materials, because as I told you, we have local suppliers. Not the production, because in a way, you know, adhesive sealants are powder, so it's just a mixing and it does not require a lot of energy. And even not the transport of the finished products to our customer. We are 100 subsidiaries and more than 80 plants, so we can we are locals and we don't need to transport our finished products for long distances. So we have to act on raw materials, and that's why it's very important the research focus on the attention on the raw materials and the formulation. That's why we are working on alternative materials for our formulations, such as recycled materials, alternative cements with a lower amount of clinker, for example, cut with other recycled materials such as fly ash, slags, etc. We are working on new polymers that can reduce the impacts and the CO2 emissions. And last but not least, we are working very hard on the packaging of our products, using, for example, recycled plastic, using recycled paper, etc. So what we do now is measure all the impacts, including the CO2, which is, as I told you, the most popular and most important indicator for pollution and for the planet. We measure by the LCA, but we are externally verified and certified. So our numbers, our results are reported in the so-called Environmental Product Declarations, EPD. every product that we study has its own APD, such as, for example, here I can give you some examples, such as a grout, Ultracolor Plus, which has been studied in a global production and has its own APD. The environmental product declarations are very important for many reasons. For the transparency, because we declare all the impacts that we have linked to our products. For the action that we can make for reducing the CO2, and even because, for example, in all the green ratings for the buildings, such as LEED, BREEAM, and even the Emirates Green Building Rating, ask for products which has their own environmental product declaration. So that's why it's very important. And more, other important job sites all over the world now are asking for products that are that have an environmental product declaration. But we do something more. So we want to do something more, because we reduce the CO2 emissions linked to our products by the formulations, by acting on the production, etc. But we cannot go to a neutral number, because all the actions give CO2 emissions. So what we can do is the compensation, the CO2 compensation, and I will explain you what it is. So as I told you, we measure the kilos of CO2 per kilo of finished products by our software lifecycle assessment. This measurement is verified and certified, and we multiply for some products the annual production in tons per kilos of CO2 that we measured, and we obtain all the tons of CO2 for every year that it's correlated to the product itself. We can purchase carbon credits, to neutralize, to compensate the CO2 that is linked to our products that we produce for manufacturing adhesives and grouts, for example. This act, so we purchase some credits. I will show you which are the projects. We purchase credits, carbon credits, to finance some projects, such as, for example, reforestation or renewable energy. In this way, we can balance, we can neutralize the CO2 of our products. The offsets are not a replacement for taking action to reduce our carbon footprint, but they are the last option to offset the emission that we cannot avoid. So first, to the top, R&D improves all the formulations for durable and quality products with low environmental impacts. The last option is to buy these credits, these carbon credits, in order to neutralize the residual CO2 emissions of our products. So we do compensations on one of our iconic adhesives for ceramics from 10 years, I have to say 11 years, for the Italian productions. Now we start compensating even the grout, such as that's Ultracolor Plus from the worldwide production, to give the possibility to our customer to have a flooring system, so the adhesive and the grout, completely compensated at zero impact on climate change. So in a way, it's a CO2 neutral system for the application of a ceramic flooring. The offsetting that we are doing are, as I told you, purchasing carbon credits that are certified for a project of hydropower in Vietnam and reforestation in Indonesia. So at the beginning of this year, we started even compensating other ceramic tile adhesives that are cement-based adhesive. They have a formulations which is optimized to reduce the CO2 emissions, and more, we compensate in the way that I showed you all the CO2 emissions of this adhesive by purchasing the credit carbons. And since 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago, We launched even a line for mortars for restoration, even again cement-based, with a lot of recycled materials inside that allow to have a very, very low CO2 emissions coming from these products, but more, we have the possibility to compensate this CO2. So that's why we launched what the so-called zero line for mortars and for ceramic tiles, for ceramic lines. What's important is that all these products have their own APD, Environmental Product Declaration. So we measured the CO2 emissions coming from these products. We were verified, certified, and then we purchased the CO2 credit, the carbon credits. I want to briefly describe the project that we are financing by this initiative. One is a renewable energy project in Vietnam. And as you can see, these projects give environmental benefits because they can reduce the CO2 emissions, for example, of more than 500,000 tons of CO2 per year. But they even give new job opportunities in the local communities, and that's very important because this project have not only environmental benefits but even social benefits. They are certified and they can give even benefits to the communities of Vietnam, for example, and Indonesia for the other projects. The other project is a reforestation, so this project preserve biodiversity in a reserve in Indonesia, in a forest that should have gone on the palm oil production. So that's why it's very important. The reduction of this project is estimated as 3 million tons of CO2 per year, and so that's why we decided to finance these two projects to compensate the CO2 linked to our product. That's why we can claim that we launched the zero line products. So what's important, and what I want you to enhance and to underline, is that we measure all the environmental impacts by the methodology, the standardized methodology called life cycle assessment. We have these measures, but again, we are verified and certified by a third-party body. And then we reduce the emissions of the CO2 by the optimizations of the formulas of our products. And at the end, the last option is the offsetting by purchasing credit carbon for the financial of the project that I show you. So that's very important because we are working on the reduction of the CO2 emissions of the products, and the last option is the compensations. Now we are working on other products for reducing and for compensating the CO2 in order to have really benefits on the planet and try to deal with the climate change and to make our part on this problem. So if you have now some questions, maybe you wrote the questions on the chat.
And no questions.
Okay.
I
don't
you
know
were
if
really
it's a good news.
You were really good.
Clearly.
Everything was super clear.
Yeah, what's important for MAPEI is always to certify what we declare. So that's why I underlined several times that we are verified and certified, the third party, because as our former president, former CEO, always told us was to claim what we certify. So all the results that we have are third party certified, and you can find all the information on the website, on the website on Emirates, and even on the Italian websites. You can find all the information about compensation, all the information about what we do for climate change, so for the, such as, for example, on the organization, and all the environmental product declarations that contain all the results of the impacts that we measure. So that's why it's very important that we are certified. We have even for the organizations all the ISO, so the quality ISO and the environmental ISO, such as the ISO 14001. And for the products, we work on R&D, research and development, and on the sustainability department, which is located in Italy, but it's corporate, so we have to manage with all our subsidiaries. Samantha, Nisran,
Right.
you want to add something about the...
We are available for any questions as well.
I have a question actually.
Yeah.
So, and we have a question, but then I will ask my question first, I guess. So there's always this argument that sustainability always comes at a cost. Is this true for MAPEI products? How does it compare to other products that are not as sustainable?
For example, these products which are compensated, we decided not to increase the price of the products. So the cost is for the compensation is not allocated to our customers, but to MAPEI, because we believe in this initiative. R&D has a cost for sure. Durable and quality products have a cost, but for sustainability, we are trying not to increase the prices of our products because we believe in this initiative. So we decided to allocate the price of the compensation to MAPEI itself. Not to myself. But...
All right, we have one question from Rashad Hassanain. And his question is, in some of the slides you have mentioned you are using alternative materials, cement, polymers. Are these polymers, are they bio-based?
There are two paths now in research, bio-based, sure, and mass balanced. It's another trend of our suppliers of polymers. Yes, we are trying to use this kind of polymers, but I have to say that they are not cheap, so they are very expensive compared to the traditional ones. So, we want to measure the benefits of these polymers in our products, because polymers have high impacts, I have to say, on the planet and in terms of CO2 emissions and in other impacts. And so we want to obtain polymers with lower impacts. Some of them, one of the possibilities to use bio-based polymers and mass balance polymers. It's not easy because of the price and because we have to balance the formulations in order to obtain the same quality and durability. Regarding cements, we are using starting to use alternative cements. In Europe, there is a classification, so the cement one is very rich of clinker, and the other cements are poor of clinker and with the addition of slags, pozzolanic, etc., that reduce the impact. But again, they don't have the same properties as the cement one.
All right, we have two more questions. So the next question is from Samir Al-Hamdan, and he's asking, is there social life cycle impact assessment? I'm not sure if he meant social or carbon.
Okay.
So
No,
is there a social life cycle impact assessment for MAPEI building materials?
The life cycle assessment measured the environmental impacts, not the social ones, but we take care about the social aspects in many ways. For example, all the products, most of the products are certified as low volatile organic compounds emissions. It means that when you apply these products in your home, they don't affect the indoor air quality. So after 2 years of lockdown, it's very important to have a very good air in our houses. I believe this can be considered as a social sustainability. So all the products don't affect the comfort in our houses. And for example, they are not allergenic. We don't use substances of very high concern. It means that we don't use toxic carcinogenic compounds inside our products. And in terms of products, that's how we deal with the social sustainability. In the organization, it's very big, so we have a lot of initiatives for communities, for local communities, and even for charity, etc. And every subsidiary take care of these aspects. You can find all these the social aspects in the sustainability report. I don't know if I answered to the question.
I think you've related. We have the questions that are just coming now. The next question is, do you feel that your compensation efforts also translate in a competitive advantage?
Yes. We hope not to have we did not start the compensation for this aim. I have to say that when we started the compensation, it was 10 years ago, and it was a little bit earlier for the market. The building market is strange, but now I see that the compensation is increasing in a lot of fields. What I would prefer that is not that, okay, I know that it can be a competitive advantage on the competitors, but I do hope that it can be it can push our competitors to do the same in order to reduce the CO2 emissions in the planet. So maybe if our competitors start the compensation, it can be better for the planet.
All right.
But for sure, for MAPEI, it is even now it's an advantage because we decided to go to the sustainability point of view.
Yeah, I tell you for sure, sustainability always gives a competitive advantage, no matter what product or. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, and then we have the last question for now, unless more questions come up. So the question is, zero line products, will they be produced in all regions, or is it just in Italy for now?
It's a project that it's growing, and we are studying products in all subsidiaries for the zero line, because as I explained you, I believe with a lot of words, first we want to measure the CO2 emissions, and this measuring is linked to the plant where the products are manufactured. So we are now collecting all data from all subsidiaries. We are studying not all, but some products also coming from our subsidiaries in order to enlarge the project of the zero line. So we will in the future for sure, in the very, very close future.
All right. Any more questions? If you have any more questions, just type them in now. Otherwise, I would like to thank you very much. Nesreen, Samantha, Michaela for taking us through this presentation and sharing with us your journey in making and like the knowledge that you have obtained from making MAPEI's products more sustainable. We definitely need more and more manufacturers and suppliers on board with the more sustainable products. We need EPDs for everything. And I think this is the way to reach net zero. And all the net zero commitments is first to know what are the impacts of the products and the materials and what's the embodied carbon that we use in our buildings. And this is how we can assess whether what do we need to do to what we need to offset, how do we reduce our footprint, then we reach net zero. No more questions. But again, thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Panelists, have a great weekend, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you.
us. Thank you, Michaela, for sharing that talk as well. Obviously, Nesreen and I are based in the Middle East, and our role is very much to try and encourage and support the specification of durable and long-lasting materials to improve the sustainability aspect of construction. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes from a corporate level. So, Michaela, thanks for just explaining everything else that we're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Have a great day.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I need to find how to end the meeting now. Usually my colleague runs the workshops. All right.
So we will stay here
Until I go.
at the end of the day.
Maybe just this one.
Quick.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Ciao,
Bye.
ciao.
We just
Nesreen.
figure out we have to quit from the box.
Goodbye.
Yeah, it's okay. Now we can go.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.